Very good evening, and thanks for clicking on to the Tuesday edition of Vogan's European Outlook. It is January 21st, and we continue to see this ongoing historic snow event along the US Gulf Coast. So much so that I'm going to be going live at 11:30 p.m. UK this evening, or 5:30 p.m. Central Time over in the United States. So it'd be good to see folks on the European side of the Atlantic tuning in, but equally it would be good to see folks on the North American side also. We're going to be talking about the snow totals and how they stack up with history. I think, for example, in the New Orleans area, to receive more than 1 inch of snow, you have to go back 61 years. So, pretty remarkable stuff. We've seen snow anywhere from Corpus Christi, Texas, all the way across to North Florida. And this snow event is going to track up the coastal region of both Georgia and the Carolinas as well. This is going to be an epic event. It is an epic event, and therefore you have to do a live stream when you've got such a rare situation taking place. So this is the latest live cam from Galveston Beach, and a beautiful snow-covered beach area right along the Gulf of Mexico here. It's snowing out over the Gulf itself, and the current temperature as of 5 to 11 in the morning in Galveston is 30 degrees or around -1 Celsius. And you've got the palm trees blowing in the wind as well, so probably feeling closer to -5, -6 Celsius at the moment on the coast. Incidentally, this is the current view from Bourbon Street in New Orleans. If I can just get rid of this advert. Sorry, I do apologize for that. We'll have a look and see what the current conditions are. Look at this here. Absolutely amazing sight indeed. You just simply do not see that very often at all. A truly historic event ongoing in New Orleans, in Houston, and this is the live view from downtown Houston as well. So you can see that we've got the snowy highways, we've got the buildings covered in snow, and it looks as if the snow is sticking to roadways as well. But I think this precipitation is now pulling away from the Houston area, moving into Louisiana, and we've actually got pretty much an unprecedented blizzard warning in effect for coastal western Louisiana, which is just absolutely unbelievable. It's the furthest south blizzard warning in history for this part of the world. And bear in mind, by the way, that this is level with the Sahara Desert, the Lanzarote, for example, and snow is falling, accumulating, and at sea level as well. So it cannot be understated how impressive this event really is. And this is the very, very same system that is going to bring Stormowyn. I think that's how you pronounce it. I do apologize if I'm pronouncing it wrong. But you can see here, if we look at this GFS chart here, we've got the system that essentially the area of low pressure developed along the Arctic boundary here. We've got a tail of a frontal system. We've got two areas of low pressure, one over the Midwest, one over the Mid-Atlantic region here. It's funneling Arctic air southwards and colliding with this Arctic boundary, which has actually positioned slightly to the south of the Gulf Coast. So therefore, we're actually in all snow all the way to the beaches of Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and Florida. And what's happening is that system is going to ride that very steep boundary here. If we look at the current temperatures, according to the MeteoSale website here, this is right now, this is the here and now. We've got -1, -3 in Lake Charles, Louisiana. We've got -2 at New Orleans at the moment here. But on the other side of the Gulf of Mexico, we've got 27 Celsius in both the Yucatan and Western Cuba. That is an incredible, probably once in a lifetime contrast between both sides of the Gulf of Mexico when you've got a blizzard ongoing right on the beaches of the US Gulf Coast, while we've got 26, 27 Celsius on the Yucatan and the Cuban beaches. Even South Florida, we're still talking about the temperatures at Miami Airport, for example, at 23.9 Celsius at the moment here, while you've got the 1 Celsius up in the Florida Panhandle. So a really remarkable contrast here to speak about. We'll look at that in a lot more detail in this evening's live stream. I will leave a link in the description below, by the way, for that as well. So back to the charts. This was the view from the GFS model in terms of the snow depth as of midday tomorrow. It's not going to pull it up for me, is it? So I'll tell you what, we'll go back to the chart I originally was showing you. So this system is riding the Gulf Coast. It's going to exit off the Carolinas over the next few days here. All the while, we've got an area of low pressure down to the southwest of Iberia, bringing unsettled conditions to Portugal, parts of western Spain, and even into parts of Morocco, down through the Canary Islands as well, as this area of low pressure becomes cut off. Area of high pressure centered over the UK and Ireland, forcing that energy north and to the south of the UK. But it's as we move through the course of tomorrow, this system has a very distinct warm and cold side to it. On the northern flank, we've got heavy snowfall. On the southern flank, and this is a very tight gradient, by the way. If we look at the 850 temperatures here, this is the 5,000 foot level temperatures. You've got the essentially plus 10 versus minus 10, probably gap of about maybe 100, 200 miles. And that is basically forcing a very, very powerful jet stream. If the chart will behave itself and upload, it didn't do so for me yesterday, but it looks as if we are going to see winds at jet stream level in excess of 260 to 280 miles per hour. So obviously, flights going from the United States towards Europe going to catch that very powerful tailwind, and we're probably going to shave a good hour or so of flights between the United States and Europe during the course of the next 24, 36 hours or so. It's not uploading, unfortunately, so we'll go back to the overview chart here. You can see the contrast in terms of the 850s, and that is essentially fueling this jet and the deepening of this area of low pressure. It looks as if the internet is certainly not playing ball with me at the moment. It looks as if it's not uploading, so that's a bit unfortunate. So I'm going to try and show you a couple of other things, by the way. It looks as if every time we've went through phases 2 and particularly into phases 3, so this has been about, what, 3 rotations through this same phase since the back half of summer into the early portions of autumn. Every time we've went into phase 3 of the MJO, we've essentially seen a named storm, and we're in phases 3 at the moment, and we're, lo and behold, going to see a named storm during the course of Friday. Is it going to open up? Yeah, it has. Thankfully, it's opened up, as I don't want to start the video again. I'm struggling a little bit for time. I need to hit the road, need to get down to Glasgow, and then get myself prepared for the live. But you can see here that this area of low pressure, very distinct precipitation here of 2 different natures. We've got heavy thunderstorm kind of situation here. We've got a lot of energy associated with this area of low pressure right under the nose of that speed max, that jet core, and the very distinct contrast in precipitation type due to the fact that it's positioned directly underneath that area of strongest jet stream winds. But you can see here, by the time we reach 21 UTC, Thursday 23rd, we've got pressure down to 952 millibars. Skip to the next frame, and we're down to 947, then 944, 942. As it moves along the western side of both Ireland and Northern Ireland here, and we're going to see some exceptionally strong winds associated with this. It would not surprise me if we get several sites in exposed west coast of both UK as well as Ireland, wind gusts in excess of 90 to 100 miles per hour with this system. This is by far going to be the strongest area of low pressure this season so far for the UK and Ireland, likely to cause significant problems in terms of travel, possible power loss, battering waves. We're going to probably generate wave heights in excess of 40, possibly 50 feet offshore. Strongest winds are likely to be offshore. We could see winds well in excess of 100, 120 miles an hour, 100 or so miles off the coast. And then as that system then moves ashore, 90, possibly 100 mile per hour, parts of Ireland, Northern Ireland, England, Wales, and Scotland. Anywhere could really see these exceptionally strong wind gusts. Widespread, 60, 70, 80 miles per hour, I think, is most likely with this. So let's zoom in to the UK specifically and see what the latest GFS model is indicating here in terms of the pressure. So we go to late Thursday. There's the area of low pressure moving in here, and then it sweeps, whistles past just to the northwest of the Donegal coast at 943 millibars. If you notice, got very strong winds on the southern flank. We've also got some snowfall possible over higher elevations of both Ireland, Northern England, Scotland here with this system. Let's go to the wind gust chart of the GFS model here. Maximum wind gust potential here. You're talking about 176 kilometers per hour. Let's skip back a little frame so it's not indicating anything stronger than that. But you notice it's on the southern flank of the circulation. That is where the strongest winds are. Looks as if the kind of central to south Atlantic coast of Ireland fully susceptible, according to this GFS run anyway, of the very strongest wind. So 176 kilometers per hour. Let's convert that into miles per hour. So 176 is 109 miles per hour according to the GFS model here. Let's have a quick look at the ECMWF latest and see what it's indicating. So we've got 942, 943 millibars seen by the GFS model at its deepest and closest to Ireland, and then it goes up into the upper 940s to around 950 millibars as it crosses northern portions of mainland UK. According to the ECMWF, the centre, a little bit further south, coming ashore in the upper Atlantic coast of Ireland here at 945 millibars, so still exceptionally deep. Whistles across Londonderry, Antrim at around 947 millibars, and then it moves across pretty much the western central belt at 950 millibars. In terms of the strongest winds, let's have a look and see what the wind gusts are showing according to the ECMWF model. So we've got around 167 kilometers per hour. Again, at the central and southern Atlantic coast of Ireland, looks as if it's going to see some of the strongest gusts. But even across the Irish Sea here, northwestern portions of Wales, wouldn't be surprised if we see wind gusts in excess of 100 miles per hour, especially around that the exposed northwestern corner of Wales, and then possibly even in the southwestern Scotland we could be seeing wind gusts in excess of 80 to 90 miles per hour. Looks as if it's going to miss the majority of northern Scotland in terms of the strongest winds, but generally once you get that low then moving eastwards across Scotland, we're going to see the strongest winds transfer eastwards, and we've got a pretty broad area here of winds in excess of 80 miles per hour right the way across much of Wales, northern England, southern and central Scotland. Looks as if we've got some extremely powerful wind gusts seen by the model. Let's move on now and see what other models are indicating. Let's have a quick look at the Icon model and see the pressure chart here. How strong is this low going to be according to these models? So it looks as if it's going to be at around a little bit less deep, just marginally so, at around 949 millibars. And again, very similar to the GFS track, but interesting enough, it seems to kind of pivot a little bit here. I think it's maybe just the way the model, the computer's processing it. I don't know, but it seems to kind of the center of the low kind of there's a little bit of a kind of stretched, elongated center to this area of low pressure according to the Icon model, but it looks as if it's generally around 949 millibars if you notice here, and then it moves the center of the low, interesting enough, according to the Icon, stays a little bit further north over the UK, which is quite interesting. So these are the little finer details that can be very, very significant in terms of wind and snow and rainfall, etc., etc. If we look at the wind gusts of the Icon model, it's indicating 176 kilometers an hour. But notice the difference. Instead of it being central and southern Ireland, more Wales, more northern England, southern Scotland, it looks as if the core of those strongest winds, according to the Icon, this is 14 UTC, on the through central Scotland and even the central Highland region. So 100 mile per hour winds quite widely, anywhere from the central belt down to Ayrshire all the way up towards the Inverness area. We've got a swath of 90 to 100 miles per hour. But again, there's a lot of variability in the models here. This looks as if it's a bit of an extreme version. Let's have a quick look now at the arpege model and see what it's indicating. We'll go back to the pressure and see the depth of the lower corner of the arpege model here. Well, that's a lot deeper, isn't it? 930 millibars here. So you can see here back to Thursday, we've got one feature moves through, bringing a mixture of rain, sleet, and snow over high ground. Then, as we move into the day on Saturday, or Friday, should I say, sorry, it looks as if the center of the lower corner of the arpege is well to the northwest of the UK and Ireland here, but the center of the pressure is down at 930, 931 millibars. In fact, it actually drops into the 920s in millibars, by the way. But look at how far offshore the center actually is in terms of wind gusts. You can see here that we've got still a swath of incredibly powerful winds here, skirting northwestern Ireland, Northern Ireland, and Western Scotland, and it also has the winds actually stronger than the other models here. So basically, up the western side of Scotland, northwestern Ireland, it's got winds in excess of 189 kilometers per hour, which translates to 117 miles per hour. And obviously, with any elevation, these winds could be higher than that as well. So it's going to be a very, very interesting event. We've got a named storm. We're in phase 3 of the MJO. This was predicted back even before the end of the cold spell, which seems like a distant memory, especially for us in northern portions of the UK, where we've seen 12, 14 Celsius last week. This that cold spell just feels like a long, long time ago. But yeah, this is a live look in New Orleans. Join me at 11:30 p.m. UK or 5:30 p.m. Central Time in the United States for the US Gulf Coast Snowstorm live stream special. Hope you can join me for that. And like I said, there is a link in the description below. Lots going on. Keep it right here in the channel. Hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already done so. I'll see you later for the live. Bye bye.